Very good. There we go. So again, welcome to today's meeting and beginning introductions. My name is Nate Pizzaio. I am a peer advocate coordinator for the Vermont Center for Independent Living Burlington office. And I am the chair of this committee. I've been working on it for a long time. So we'll make our way around and I'll just point to whoever's first on my screen. So Laura. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Siegel. And because this is being recorded, I'm switching to using sign language. So again, my name is Laura Siegel. I'm the director of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing and Deaf Blind Services for VCIL. Oh, I'm sorry, not VCIL, it's Dale.
Sophie, you're next.
Hi, I'm Sophie Sauvé. I'm the Parks Comprehensive Planner with Burlington Parks Rec and Waterfront, and I'm here to represent Parks, part of the city.
Thank you. Mary Catherine.
I'm Mary Catherine Abdolghani Stone. I worked as an occupational therapist and BIPOC ERG leader at the University of Vermont Medical Center.
Thank you. And Amber.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Poulter. I'm the ADA coordinator at UVM with affirmative action and equal opportunity.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming and attending your meeting, and again, with your patience, getting this committee back up. I had a very vague agenda putting up just to provide everybody mainly with some updates. There's some stuff to update, not a whole lot to update. I think when we last held meetings, you know, as Vanessa would have said, the city of Burlington had kind of approved a budget number of, I think it's like $15,000 to go to this committee, and it was trying to go through to find an administrative staff person to help us with the scheduling of, you know, putting together notes, sending out announcements, sending out all these things, and what the hope was that we go through CEDU. And there's been some just kind of miscommunication on that and whether or not they would find someone to staff that. I actually had a conversation with Brian Pine, who is the director of CEDU, last week. He basically called me to kind of clarify what was needed for what we're looking for the CEDU rule, which is, you know, kind of interesting because we've kind of told them like 100 times what it is, but I basically said the same thing. You know, we just need help. We need help getting the word out. We need help recording minutes. We need help updating the website. We need help scheduling these things. And he asked me to send him some materials. Like I'm going to be sending him, you know, past memos, MOUs that we worked out with the mayor's office. He asked for a mission statement. I was looking. I don't know if we exactly have a mission statement. We have a background group for that, but long story short, he is asking me to provide him with information, which I'm going to be doing that. I think it would be helpful that I also just include the other members of this board so you guys see what the background of some of this information is. So the hope is, you know, his hope was hoping to get something established. He did ask, you know, what group community members we should have on this committee, which I think was important for him. I think, you know, he was kind of looking at some ways that we could beef up some representation from different places around the city. You know, like maybe somebody from AARP, somebody from the Burlington school districts, some other areas. So I basically kind of said, well, that'd be great, but we kind of need someone to help us do that outreach. You know, every time he kind of had some suggestions, I was kind of like, this is great. We'd like to do it if we had a helper, you know, get some help to doing that. So I do think that, you know, he was certainly trying to take suggestions as any new people that he could, we can get to this committee. So I think any new suggestions we can get for that is good. But again, long story short, this is kind of like a spinning wheel. We've had these conversations going on for a while. And it's just hopefully lying out to Brian what the help is needed. So that conversation I had with him was last Thursday. So I'm going to be able to provide him for some information. I think Vanessa was actually going to talk with him on Friday. And I didn't get any updates, but that's basically where we are with that, which again, not much, still a lot of talks. But again, my hope is that once we establish, get somebody established, that we'd be able to get a roll on, setting up set meetings, creating agendas, adding new people to the committee, and just, setting up events. And that's kind of where we are, that update. I can tell you, Martha Keenan, who was a member of the committee, retired for Public Works. So she will no longer be with us. She'll be missed to getting help, but she is retired. So we have somebody now off on that. So I guess representatives of the city are going to be Sophie and Vanessa. I don't know if we would need someone for Public Works. I know one thing that we had talked about with the committee one thing that we had discussed for a long time is trying to get the committee to look at, design proposals for buildings and stuff being built here, and try to get a look on that. And I do know that Martha was a big proponent of that. So that's going to be something, we might need to work out for that part. So I was kind of spinning my wheels like, yep, Sophie.
I was just going to ask if you need me to reach out to Public Works and see if someone from their team would be available to sit on the committee.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful. I mean, part of me, we're part of those things where I kind of want to wait to hear from Brian, but everything's taking so long to get a reaction. It's just kind of like strike while the iron is hot and reach out to get people's reaction, or maybe I can reach out to Martha and say, does she recommend anybody that we can reach out to? Because I am still in communication, basically her telling me, take me off your email list because I'm getting these emails and I'm retired. But I could definitely reach out to her. And if you want to reach out to somebody, that'd be great. Sorry. So there's that's pretty much the updates that I have. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Laura?
Yeah, has that job been posted already? Is that correct? It's already being advertised?
It has not. It has not even been, we're not even to that phase yet. So it sounds like Sarah Carpenter, kind of a little fire underneath him. Sarah Carpenter, who is a representative from the district, was really kind of pushing underneath him, and he kind of called and said, basically, I'm just doing an information gathering, storm on here to get that. And I told him that, and I said I'd provide him with the information. I kind of also said, I thought you knew all this already, because we had been going over with this, and hopefully, I'd like to think we can get some headways, but we don't know. But yeah, the hope is that and I don't even know if there will be a position. I don't know if they will advertise, they will fold it into an existing position. I don't know how they will treat it. So that I think really kind of putting together a job description, but we had all that. So we have all these documents that laid through, and I'll just resend it to them.
Yeah, so the job is part-time, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, we're looking for somebody, all in all, we're looking for somebody to attend these meetings, take notes. We're looking for somebody.
Yeah, because I do know of someone that I could recommend.
Yeah, I think again, it's the funding part of it and making sure, once we get that down, I mean, I don't even think we're looking at a lot of hours. I think we might be looking for like maybe, you know, minimum number of hours a month. I mean, it's really updating the website, uploading minutes, taking minutes, uploading minutes, sending out invitations, booking things. So it's not going to be super involved. One of the good things was about the money that was set aside is it was also going to be used to pay for activities. Obviously, you pay for interpreters, but it would also be used to pay for maybe any kind of events we wanted to do related to accessibility, and also any kind of slight. I think Martha's goal was hoping to get to any kind of slight modifications we might want to see in certain areas, like making, maybe if we saw some area that needed, uh, I'm thinking of a walker that, a walk signal and a crosswalk that needed a speaker, to use some of those funds to get it with a speaker to update it, or to provide some kind of update to provide accessibility. I mean, it was $15,000, which is a ton of money, but it was something there. But that's what this money was for, was supposed to help us further our goal.
Can I ask that the $15,000, was that in the fiscal year 22 budget?
I don't know. I believe it's, when is it? When did the budgets? Is it April?
July 1st. So if it was in the general fund, we need to use it before July, or it
Yeah.
doesn't roll
Yeah,
over.
and I believe
So
it. I think that's just one of the reasons why we're kind of going. I think it would need to be used by July. And that's one of the things. And so right now, I think Vanessa was saying, all it's been being used is on on interpreters right now, interpreting services. So that's all it is, and that's where Vanessa would know more about it than I do, about where the line item is. So that would be her knowledge. So we do, have some, I think, we can try to do some things while this administrative position is getting full. I don't want us to sit on our laurels and wait to do something. So we can certainly reach out to people, or just start planning some stuff. We I have my little short agenda. I had, set goals for this year. I mainly did it for, the calendar year 2022. One thing I was talking about, one thing forever we went through was there is a language access plan for the city of Burlington that's going out. So one thing I know we've been talking about with Laura and some other people is maybe see if the board can provide our suggestions on, including, making sure people who are deaf and hard of hearing are included into it, maybe seeing if there are other, accessibility. Vanessa did send me the link to it. And again, I don't know if this is something that we should send to people and just seek their feedback for a future meeting, or if we want to go over it now. That's something we can go on. I haven't seen it. I do have a link to it that we can look at. So that would be other things. As I know, some of the things we already set is possibly doing some trainings, either having somebody we know do some trainings, or hiring out to some trainings to the community, like do some like ADA trainings, or some trainings on specific accessibility issues. Those are some goals on that. Laura.
Yeah, currently the training right now through the state is only available for state employees, but I'm in the process of transitioning that and connecting that to our own YouTube so that it can be available for everyone, externally.
Oh, yeah, you mean so?
Yeah, so it's all basically just basic information about providing services, working with deaf and hard of hearing people, as well as deaf blind.
So these are YouTube videos?
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, what we're doing, they are recorded. So we've made them for internal purposes, for our own professional development. So we're in the process of transferring it and making it into a YouTube channel so that it can be used externally. When it becomes available, I'd be glad to send it to everyone.
Yeah. Well, that could be kind of cool. Again, this could send to the administrative position, if someone were able to add that link onto the accessibility committee page or something like that, or somehow get that added to the city of Burlington page, so so people can access that. So I do remember when we had in the goals, when we put the goal was to each year do a certain number of trainings and have a certain number of events. And I don't have that off the top of my head, but I definitely think that's something we want to start revisiting and looking at and start doing. I do think, and I believe one of the things we had talked about doing, and Sophie, I'll bring Sophie into this. I do know that there's a big opening of the Oak Ridge Park, which has become accessible, is doing some kind of celebration for the ADA anniversary, which is actually right in July. It's July 26th, July 28th. What is the ADA anniversary? I think it's July 26th. So that could be something that maybe this committee could kind of put on in conjunction with Burlington Parks. I mean, that's a potential promotional thing. But in terms of goals, does anybody have a suggestion or anything they want to think about for other goals that they want to do for this committee that we're looking for?
I'm about to drop something in the chat about Inclusive Arts Vermont, their trainings for organizations. I don't know like the exact fee, but they have an area on their website that's dedicated to information for trainings for organizations. So I can put that in there in the chat right now as a resource.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And I will, my plan is my hope is to someday after I record this to go back and maybe kind of have it on the background and type up some minutes and to send these to some people so we can get that. But I think any information we provide, and I think the hope is, and again, as we're, in the COVID age, but again, this is something where administrative assistants either doing trainings for Zoom is to maybe get some of these trainings and offer it to the community to, some of the trainings this committee has done in the past is basically ADA 101, understanding the ADA, understanding fair housing rights. We've even had trainings on specific things. I think we did a training on, service animals. So service animals versus support animals. So these are all some things that this committee has done. So I think they're easy enough. Once we open up to having this committee do other things, way back when we used to have people come to the committee and present, maybe accessibility issues they're seeing in the city, and that's something to do. We are an advisory committee to the mayor. So, what we kind of do is an annual report is what we're supposed to do to the mayor every year, is send them a report of what we've done and some things we're noticing about, here's some accessibility issues that we think can be addressed. Here are some other things that we think we can do. And I kind of want us to get it back on track of that. But again, I think this is where a staff person is kind of needed for some of these studies. But I do think that, in the past, we have been able to do trainings and stuff like that and schedule some things and even schedule events. I think we could do that. And I think the more we're able to get on top of that, the more we can make a point to the, mayor's office or to CEDU that, this committee can be good. We just need a little bit more oomph behind us. So that's where I'm at. It feels like we have the same conversation every time. Regarding next steps, like I said, I'm going to get back to Brian Pine. I'm going to send him some of the resources that we have, some of the materials we built up. I will include, what I'm going to do is what I'll probably do is BCC the rest of the committee, so you all have these materials as well. So you can see this committee, see the materials we have in the mission. Hopefully that will get some stuff started. Regarding the link, what do people want to do with the language access policies? Is this something we want to look over, or I don't know how exciting it is, but is this I can show it, but
Yes, I do want to see it.
all right, let me see if I can bring this sucker up. Hold on here. like I said, different computers. All right. So this right now is the language access policy. Can everybody see that? I can make it bigger. How's that?
Good, beautiful.
And really, it's basically recognizing, and as you can see here, okay, so they do have people with hearing and visual impairments.
Yeah, that needs to be changed.
Are you talking in terms of language or terminology?
Yeah, I'm thinking how to put that.
Yeah.
Um, back up, go back up. Sorry. Send it to me if you don't mind. That would be easier.
What I can also do is I'll provide people with a link and I will email people a link. This is why I'm wondering we could take a quick look at it, but then it might be better for us to send our comments and how do I get this thing to close now?
Yeah, or just drop it in the chat right now.
Yeah, well, I'm getting the link, but I got that little thing on the top bar. Like I said, I'm on a totally different setup for computers, so it's but I'll email it to people. So yeah, I mean, we could take a look at it. I don't want us to spend like whole thing just slowly reading through this thing. I think it might be better for us to if people take a look at it and then email their thoughts, we can discuss it in more detail at a future meeting. I am wondering, like as Laura, a lot of times the disability community looks down on the term impairment, so that might be something that we would change.
Yes. I think visual impairments is one community that is fine with that, but hearing challenges perhaps would be a little bit more culturally sensitive and appropriate.
And what I would like to do is I'd like to get, Vanessa could provide her feedback on what would be the best way to provide some feedback on it. We could write comments on it, or we could, just get back it. So
Yeah, if you could, like in a Word document, like a Google Doc, so that, we can actually highlight and, edit it and everyone can see each other's edits and feedbacks.
yeah, like I said, this one's
Yeah, or if you go through, I think a Google Doc would be fine. That would work.
I just need to figure out how to reformat it, because like I said, this is a link on the City of Burlington website. So I think we would, I would need, and it's a PDF, so I need to download it, switch it over, convert it. And I don't want to be doing a bunch of stuff like, I don't want to go rogue on City of Burlington stuff. So I want to make sure we're getting it, and what would be the best way to make sure the City of Burlington gets this feedback in the best way as it relates to people with disabilities. So again,
Yeah, just, you can leave that to me. You don't have to feel overwhelmed by it. I'd be glad to do it.
okay. So, just going down through this, has meaningful access to current services programs. I know that there was discussion about making sure all the departments in the city have the same information to provide to anybody who walks in, requiring language services. I think that's what it would cover. I think, we would just want to make sure that the, disabled community is represented. So here we have, let's see, definitions, auxiliary aids and services.
Like I said before, I think the best thing to do is just to send it to everyone who's that
Okay, yeah.
involved, you know, and we
That's what
can.
I think a lot of
over-
people's eyes are rolling in the back of their head reading this, so I think that would be good to do that. So what I will do is I will send it out to people, but this is just one of the things we could do, is look at access policy. I am interested to see if, I'm trying to think of, when you think of language access, you think of, deaf of heart and hearing and visual, people blind, uh, visual disabilities, but we want to make sure are we accounting for other groups? I don't know, people with autism or people, making sure those groups are also included and thought of. Not some of the most easily thought of groups when you think about that as we're coming up. Amber, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, so Nate, that was one thing I was thinking about too, just, and I'm curious, like, how much input we have on this and how, kind of like how the input would get implemented. Like if we try to include something about, let's say, like plain language or, expand kind of the audience, that we're talking about, beyond just folks who are deaf or hard of hearing or people with limited proficiency. So I guess I'm curious about.
Yeah.
How much, so I guess, let me sum it up this way with my question. If we provide this kind of broad feedback, is that welcome? Is that kind of what you all are looking for? Or should we try to keep it just to this?
You mean, so right now, I think it's just specifically looking at the specific policy and providing feedback on that specifically. I think this is just a starting point. I know that Vanessa has for a while. I think it's changed hand a couple of times. And so I think right now we're just providing our feedback on this particular thing exactly. And then we can expand it to something. I just want to think us to get, try to get our proverbial feet wet, and going that provide some ways that we can beef that up. So that's also to do with this. We can certainly start looking at other things later on. I think right now this is just a springboard because this is right here in front of us. I think it's something that we can act on, pretty quickly. So what I can do is I'll send the link down. Well, I can do two things. I can send the link or I can download the PDF and email it to you all as attachments. I think the best way just be sending you the link and you do with it what you see fit. Laura, okay, so Laura's got the link.
Yes,
Laura,
I did. I found the link.
yeah, are you saying you would be open to taking it and putting on to Google Docs or something like that and adding comments? Is that something you say you would be open to doing, or?
Yeah, with the state's permission to use Google Docs, I don't think they're going to allow that.
Yeah, so let me review that with, I think the best way is that we can kind of just look it over and people might want to provide comments on it. I can go to Vanessa and see what she thinks the best way to get feedback on that is.
Yeah, ask Vanessa if she has a different format or a different version of Google Docs or of this, a PDF or something, because that you're not going to be able to edit.
I
or
also
add
know that,
comments to.
yeah, I also know that it might be CDU. I don't know who is putting this together, but there's also another group that meets that represents, new Americans and parts like that. And that would be another part to kind of join in that meeting as part of a providing feedback for the disabled community as well. So we have that. So I'm going to send that link out to people so we can take a look at. I'm going to get Vanessa's feedback on that. I'll send the materials to Brian Pine. I think I'll be CCing the rest of you in on that so you can all see the materials that we have as well. Regarding meetings, I sent out the poll. This was the day and time people said, Mondays from 3 to 4. I think that works for people. It works for me. And I think we just need to settle on do we want to try, we can start reading monthly again. Does anybody have a specific Monday they want to do? Like, right now we're at the fourth Monday of the month. Do we want to do the third? Doesn't matter to people. Do we want to do, traditionally, we've always done for some reason, I'm always stuck on the third. I always think the third Wednesday, and I only think that because the fourth, you never know what's going to happen. But do we want to try setting meeting for the third Monday of the month at, from 3 to 4?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nate, this is Amber. I typically have a standing meeting on this Monday, the fourth Monday of the month. And so if we went for the third, that would be great. I'd love to be able to join this.
Okay. So I will get that to the rest of the group. I am also going to reach out to Martha and Sophie, if you're willing to reach out to anybody at Burlington Parks and Rec, Department Public Works, to talk about, see if anybody wants that, get on the committee. That'd be great. I'm going to follow up with Brian Pine, and I'm also going to check with Vanessa. And I would say, Sophie, yep.
Sorry, I just had two things. One, I'm wondering if we should also reach out to the REIB department to see if anyone from that team would want to
Yes.
sit in. And then the second thing is, just before, I'm not sure if we're heading out of the meeting, but just wanted to mention that as part of parks, we're doing a comprehensive plan for Letty Park in the coming months. And we'll have our internal kickoff in mid-March, and we anticipate doing outreach to the public in May. And it would be great to have, if this group could reach out to your larger communities to participate in that process, it'd be super helpful to us and a lot more inclusive if more people come than the usual neighborhood residents, because it is a regional park.
Absolutely, Sophie. I was actually going to give you, like some of the other time, just talk about, because I know Parks and Rec has been doing a lot of things. So I know we mentioned the Oakridge, but I don't know if you want to just give people a rundown of what's been happening and if people are going to look at, during the winter, if you're okay with doing that, because I do think there are some exciting things that this committee can kind of tag on to kind of promote accessibility. So I was actually going to leave you to talk about that a little bit if you're.
Oh, sorry to jump to that.
Yeah.
So just back to Oakridge, in December, we opened a universally accessible beach access to the beach. As you may know, if you know that park very well, it was really hard to get down to the beach, whether you were able-bodied or not. So now we have a nice ramp going down to the beach. We'll be getting a beach mat that will lead into the lake so that anyone who's using a wheelchair can get to the lake itself, or if you're transporting anything else, it's a lot easier to get down there. And we're working on putting out a bid for the construction of the universally accessible playground at Oakridge. So that'll be under construction hopefully this summer. We're hearing chatter that construction companies are already busy, but we're hopeful that we can still keep this project moving forward for this summer. And tomorrow, there's obviously town meeting day with the bond vote going forward. In the bond, there's funds that we've requested as part of playground rehabilitations and other parks that we're hopeful, if the bond passes, would go to surfacing in playgrounds that are being not refurbished, but changed out so that they can be accessible, and then we'd be able to select more of the structures that are accessible to everybody. But if we don't have the surface for people to roll onto or walk onto easily, it makes it very complicated to do that part of it. But in the bond itself, we have 3 years of funding for 3 different parks that would have that surfacing put in. And that's like that rubbery surface that you may have seen at Oakledge in the phase 1 part of the playground. So we're hopeful for that tomorrow.
Just as long as you have no more mulch, those mulch floorings on the playground, because those are like
Awful.
the wheelchairs we sink in. I actually was trying to push my son on the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go push her on the swing, and I go swing, and then we end up having to get people to pull me out. It was
Yeah. And the thing with mulch is you have to replace it every year. So it's an expense and a maintenance issue, but the surfacing is almost the same cost as a playground. And playgrounds, you know, if we're paying $80,000 for a playground, it's $80,000 of surfacing. And right now in our budget, we just don't have it.
yeah,
Because all our playgrounds are not, many of our playgrounds are like 30 years old. So they're really falling apart.
right.
So we've been replacing pieces where we can, but in other contexts, we've had to just remove pieces altogether because they're just not safe. So it's just finding the funds to be able to do all that. Has been challenging, but we're
Yeah.
working on it.
The Letty Park, can you just provide a little more information? So there's renovations going on in the Letty Park this summer, right? Is that?
Well, there might be some work going on at Letty in terms of construction, but the project I'm referring to is a comprehensive plan, which means looking at the whole plan or the whole park as a whole, more like top down, and looking at the different pieces that we want to implement in the coming years and making sure that we're putting in the right place, doing the right putting in the right infrastructure in the right place and doing it sequentially as it should be done. For example, we had to take out the tot lot last year at Letty because it was unsafe. Right now, there's just a little ladybug left there if you know the park. So knowing if we should put a playground back in there or if it should go somewhere completely different. And there's also been talk of a pavilion at Letty similar to the one at Oakledge. Where should that go? Just looking at it more in terms of circulation and connectivity of the park and all these different kind of components, and whether when we go to replace something, if we should think about a new location for them. I guess the best way to explain it.
Yeah. I do know that at one point, you know, what the hopes of this committee was to have certain members of the committee just try to attend some of these meetings as representatives of the committee. And I know that's asking a lot of people for, you know, their free time to go do that, but it's, I definitely think it's worthwhile. So I think that's one thing that we want to have as a committee is to just let us know that. Sophie, I don't know if you have the email for everybody, but if you want to send some information about that, I don't know if you have, I mean, just when that is. I can certainly try to be there. I tried to come to some of them, like some with the pier and stuff. So,
We
so-
don't have a schedule yet. We're just starting out,
Okay.
but once I do, I'll definitely share
Yep.
that with this group so that either you know about it or can at least read about it online. Because we record our meetings if they're Zoom, obviously, and put them online. And then any information that's developed, we'll also put it online. And we're really into getting information or input from the public. So I'd
Okay.
appreciate the different voices here for sure.
Great. Anybody have any questions, comments?
I'm curious about something, Nate. This is Amber again here. So I am wondering, like, whenever there's a project that happens, like the one that you were talking about at Oakledge, for example, is there somebody that's designated for the city of Burlington as the ADA coordinator or consultant who checks things for ADA compliance and reviews spaces and that kind of thing?
Go
Want
ahead.
me to there isn't anyone designated in terms of ADA, but we do seek the input as much as we can of ADA specialists, but also my background's as a landscape architect. So that's part of my training as well as my teams. But anytime we can get a different pair of eyes on a plan, we would certainly appreciate it because there are things that we don't see, you know, as much as possible. And also once you construct it, it's always different than you anticipate it in terms of use. So just getting more than a pair our eyes on it would be super appreciated.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure anytime there's a new project, anytime there's a new renovation, anytime new, things being built, they're required to meet ADA standards. I think a lot of times what we want to do is try to go beyond that. And I do think that's one of the ways that I'm excited to actually see the beach access, because I know one of the discussions was that, ADA requirements for getting to a beach access is sometimes really extreme. The angle is still quite a lot for people. And I think what they did end up doing was circumventing that and actually making it kind of easier, more than ADA. So, but I think that's where this committee could come in and say, okay, rather than trying to meet the minimum ADA standards, let's try to make it accessible, really accessible. And also don't think of it accessible in terms of, a person in a wheelchair mobility device needs to be accessible. It needs to be accessible to all people with disabilities, in that sense. So I think that's where we can definitely provide the feedback. And my hope for this committee is to try to get people representing different disability groups. I really would like to reach out to. I really like to have somebody from the Vermont Blind and Visually Impaired, somebody from VBAVI be on this committee to provide their feedback, or somebody from the blind community and other groups. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for.
And Amber, I'd say on that too, at least my team is often trying to push the universally accessible piece rather than just the basic ADA standard, but sometimes we need backup. So having someone who's working in the discipline of universal access from all the different organizations would be super helpful for us to have that touchstone to kind of come in and say, actually, this is better or not, because we do strive to do that, but it's really hard sometimes when there is ADA, which is the standard. And then when you're trying to go higher, you kind of meet the, cost, et cetera, or inconvenience to whoever in terms of pushing that forward. So if we have those contacts, then we will definitely use them to help elevate universal accessibility in parks. And we try and help DPW do the same.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and I'm just, thinking about like if, even though I'm at UVM, I'll get calls from folks that are, community members in Burlington asking about Burlington infrastructure sometimes. And I, haven't quite known like who to refer people to or where to send them, to express concerns. And some of the things that they're expressing concerns about, I think is really just a lack of even ADA compliance, right? Not even like the universal access, more universal access pieces. So I think I would love to know kind of what resources there are in Burlington already, for the city, and kind of where how so I understand better kind of how we can collectively fit in and support like what you were talking about. So
Yeah, great. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, everybody. I think unless anybody else has anything else they want to mention, we could wrap it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a calendar invite for the third Mondays of the month from 3 to 4. I did just realize that, for obvious reasons, we might run into a Monday or two where we're running into a holiday, at which point we can either plan to bump it down or reschedule, because anytime you go with Mondays, you're going to bump into one of those, 1-day holidays or something. But I will send that out. I'm going to send everybody the link to the language access plan so people have it. And I will be CCing. I will be out. The office is closed tomorrow, but on Wednesday I will try to send everybody, send some Brian Pine some things and some other things to keep you all included in that. That's all I have. Any parting thoughts, or we can say goodbye? All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
I should probably look at